Hey, what's up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. So, before we get to, we have a ton of stuff to get to today. But first, I want to show you guys this new video. If you remember a couple days ago, my last vid, we only had a few still images from China's landing on the backside of the moon. And now we have HD video of the Chang'e 4 lander actually touching down on the far side in what can only be described as historic footage. It's a historic event, so if you haven't seen it yet, check this out. Okay, so as you guys just saw, historic footage of China landing on the far side of the moon. If you'd like to learn more about the landing, I'll put a link down below. You can read some more on it. But I want to get to some strange happenings around the world. It's been a little while since I've posted a video, but it's not for lack of trying. Let's just say there's a lot of cool stuff happening behind the scenes that I'm going to be announcing very, very soon. But the first story that I want to get to today is in regards to more of these mystery booms that we've been documenting here on the channel. In fact, I'm putting together a map of all of these both underground and above ground rumblings, these loud, massive explosions or sounds that are happening around the world to see if we can maybe correlate and maybe connect the pieces to the puzzle. And as always, the booms have continued, this time in Ohio, where despite the booms first being blamed on local what are called injection wells, well, as you'll see in this news footage, it appears that that's not where it's coming from at all. And as of right now, the source of the sound remains a mystery.
Reports of loud booms heard in Brookfield remain a mystery.
While people at Brookfield still suspect the explosion-type noises are related to local injection wells, Glenn Stevens says state regulators have found no evidence of that.
The Brookfield injection wells have been a subject of controversy since the permits were first granted. The latest complaints concern loud explosion-type noises. Gloria Douglas lives directly adjacent to the well site.
Yeah, very distinct. You know, it's something that you've not heard here before.
And it's loud?
Very loud. It's like an explosion. I call it an explosion boom.
Brookfield trustee Dan Suttle says ODNR was contacted and checks were conducted on 3 seismic monitors at and around the well site.
They did look at the monitoring devices, and there was no seismic activity that occurred.
A spokesman for ODNR says that local authorities also did an on-site inspection and found nothing at the site that would indicate a possible explosion. They say that the police believe that the booms may have been related to firearms on a property near the site. But Suttle says residents did not accept that as a possible source.
They shake their head and say it was much louder. It shook their house, in fact, the boom noise.
No more recent booms have been reported, but Suttle says the township will continue to monitor the situation. With more local news, I'm Glenn Stevens.
So as you just heard in this, we have a common theme that, every time they go out and interview people, wherever these massive booms occur, I've noticed that the local authorities or whoever comes in, sometimes it's the FBI that comes in to investigate these things, as with what happened, I believe it was in Pennsylvania. but they always try to blame these sounds. And they're not just sounds, they're rumblings. They're shaking people's homes. They always try to blame them on some mundane explanation. And as in almost every other interview and news clip, you will have the local residents emphatically denying whatever mundane explanation was used, saying, no, it's not fireworks, it's not this, it's not that, it's shaking our homes, it's knocking our TVs over, breaking our windows, and it truly is one of the strangest mysteries that I've been reporting on over the past couple of years or so. So anyone near or in Brookfield, Ohio, if you have any more info, let me know. And as it relates to these mystery booms, I received a piece of footage here, as well as some emails from people who had been hearing similar sounds in or near the town of Orangeburg, South Carolina. But not only were they hearing these loud booms, apparently they've been seeing some strange cloud formations in the sky that have been appearing just before and after these booms and rumblings as well, as you'll see in this piece of strange sky footage here. Okay, so this was posted by SuperDave44 here on YouTube. And, I mean, obviously, you're going to see some strange clouds. We've all seen them. This here looks just downright creepy, as if there's something in the sky or coming from the ground that's actually manipulating somehow the cloud cover above. It almost looks like an eye. Kind of looks like the Eye of Ra, the Egyptian symbol. But yeah, you have this strange sort of disc-like cloud here, and then this very long line that stretches out from it. And yeah, similar reports of strange sounds, loud booms coming from this area as well. Multiple emails, in fact, around South Carolina. So there's something going on, guys. Something is happening. Very well also may be affecting the skies, the clouds, things around it. It sure as hell is shaking people's houses. So we'll continue to follow this phenomenon. If you guys hear these things or have any local news stories about it that pop up, be sure to send them in to me. My email is down below. And to the main topic of today's video, a major event has just happened out in the remote regions of Siberia, where it has been reported that Vladimir Putin has actually drafted in soldiers to investigate what they're calling a, quote, collapsed mountain in this remote region of Siberia amid suggestions that it may have been caused by a UFO crash landing. And so you're seeing footage that has been taken by a couple of different sources where in the middle of Siberia, which is very cold, very remote, apparently this giant piece of a mountain, or the whole mountain itself, was completely cracked in half, fell apart, with many locals claiming that it had something to do with a UFO crash. And from what I've read here from the report, this event, as they're calling it, resulted in a massive rockfall, which blocked a nearby river, which then left local villages at the risk of flooding. And that's how they knew that this collapse happened in the first place, because they noticed that the river had stopped flowing through this area. So they went to look, and what they found was this massive collapse. And you'll notice how in this specific video portion, it looks as if something has skid and just cracked this mountain right down the middle and went right through it. The massive rockfall was so big, in fact, and so much rock was shifted, that it would fill 13,600 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And meanwhile, the falling of the 34 million cubic meters of rock left a gash in the mountain which could swallow up all of the water used if every American showered at the same time. So we're talking a massive opening was created by something in this mountain. And you would think that just some mundane mountain rock slide would be nothing. However, when you have the Russian army dispatched immediately to the scene to try and figure out what caused the event and the moving of a 525-foot mound of rock, then you start having to ask some questions. The Defense Ministry has sent out a group of specialists to, quote, conduct reconnaissance work at the site. Reconnaissance work. And as far as what caused it, we have one man by the name of Alexei Maslov, who is the head of the district where the incident happened, who said that they are, quote, trying to find the explanation for this incident and that he insists that it was a meteorite that caused it. However, a local poll in eastern Russia suggested that while 27% agreed with his assessment, 33% actually believed a UFO to be the cause. Now, Professor Dave Petley, Vice President for Research and Innovation at the University of Sheffield, came out and dismissed the ideas that it could be a meteorite or a UFO, explaining that the mountain slope above the area had a, quote, pre-existing tension crack or depression, and that it was highly unlikely to be associated with a meteor impact event. However, even the professor had to admit that he was surprised that the fall occurred in winter when the ground was frozen rather than the warmer time of year. But the kicker to this whole story is that locals who first discovered the caved-in mountain were shocked to find what they called hot rocks on which they could warm their hands. And that is what has made this so strange and sparked talks of a cover-up. Because again, this is in the middle of Siberia in the winter. We're talking major below freezing temperatures here, and whatever caused this heated up the rocks to where they could warm their hands up over them. That is no ordinary mountain cave-in or rock slide. I'm really wondering if something happened here, guys. A lot of strange events have occurred in or near Siberia over the years. Many of you know of the Tunguska event in 1908, where over 700 square miles of forest were flattened in an instant, and they still really don't know what caused it to this day. Whether it was a meteor, whether it was a UFO crashing, they don't know what it was, but it was a major event. So if you have time, Google the Tunguska event of 1908 if you really want to have your mind blown. So with that, tell me what you think about this story coming out of Siberia and everything else that we've spoken about today. I've got much more coming. Likewise, I'm also going to be analyzing this new moon footage, courtesy of China, to see if maybe we can spot something flying in the dark skies in the background or maybe on the surface. So you guys do the same. If you find something, send it in, and I'll see you back in just a bit.